Utah State coming off a 4-8 season, including 3-4 in the Mountain West. They just seem to be a very middle-of-the-road team that found inconsistent QB play. They'll now rely on Bronco Mendenhall to take over the helm and get them back to the top of the Mountain West. Utah State returns one starter from a year ago on the offensive side, 3 defensive starters. He brings in a couple transfers from Utah, along with a few guys from New Mexico. They're going to rely on senior Bryson Barnes, who played sporadically through last season. He found success running the ball, using his feet. He finished out last season with 400 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Bronco left New Mexico with a lot of optimism from last season. He'll be looking to carry it over. Same momentum to Utah State. Unfortunately, the Aggies, they have the toughest schedule in the conference this year. Diving deeper into the schedule, you start at home with UTEP, but from there you got Texas A&M on the road. You come back home, you got Air Force, you got McNeese, but then you got Vanderbilt and Hawaii, both on the road. You got San Jose State at home. You do got New Mexico on the road. You got Nevada at home. You go on the road, you got UNLV and Fresno State, and you finish out your year with arguably the best team, without a doubt, in the Mountain West in Boise State. Possible playoff team there. Tough schedule. I mean, the way part of it alone, it's a gauntlet. I don't see them winning any away game this season. Possibly New Mexico, unless they come with, a bit of a grudge against Bronco. I mean, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Hawaii, UNLV, and Fresno State, I don't see them getting a break there. I see them losing all of those. And even at their home games, San Jose State, Air Force, Boise State, not looking good for the Aggies. UTEP, that's a toss-up game, start the season. Nevada, I'm not so sure. They may be on equal standing compared to other teams in the conference, but tough schedule. Looking at the floor, this is a team that may win. It would not surprise me if they can win 2 games on the year. I think ceiling-wise, they may win as many as 5. I just don't see this team with this roster going to a bowl game. I see 5 wins, best case scenario for Bronco in year 1 in Utah State. He's got a different team. What he was able to do in New Mexico will not translate well. I think he had a bunch of guys already in the locker room. How does he fare without his all-conference quarterback in Devin Dampier, who was able to do seemingly everything for the Lobos last season, along with a few key pieces at running back and receiver. He doesn't have those studs going into this season. As of now, it would appear that they're going to have a rough go at it, trying to figure out identity. Surely his defense has to be better than it was at New Mexico, but is his offense going to be nearly as explosive? Sure, you have a running quarterback in Bryson Barnes, but how effective will he be throwing the ball downfield? And even best case scenario, it's just such a tough schedule that I don't know if anyone's going to be able to sneak away and get a win. I think Bronco can get the Aggies back to where they want to go. It's just not going to happen in year 1, and it's not going to happen as long as they're in the Mountain West.